Welcome to Speaking of Grace, the weekly message podcast from the Whole Life Church in Orlando, Florida. We're a multi-ethnic, multicultural, and multi-generational congregation committed to our mission of loving people into a lifelong friendship with God. We are committed to our vision of being a church without walls, fully engaged in serving the people of our community. Thank you for joining us as we continue Speaking of Grace.
All right, good morning, Whole Life family. Good afternoon. We are so happy that we can share this time with you here with this panel. This week felt different. There was a name that was not the name of Jesus that brought us together, and his name was Milton. So I don't know how it felt for you, but for me, it was a stressful week. This past week, I saw something happen. I saw a lot of community in my neighborhood. For the first time, my neighbor came to help me, brought his tools. I went to my neighbor's house, and we used to have some gathering together, but this time felt different. Us here, I was with Ken and other staff filling sandbags, and we were together because we had a common denominator. It was Milton. So I hope we are all safe. And today we actually want to talk about small communities and this might not sound like a regular or typical sermon, but there's a message here for you today. And our church has been putting a lot of energy, resources into small communities because we think that's very important. That's a priority for us. So today I have here Sean, who's going to host with me. He's our small communities coordinator. And then Ali, Alfred, Nicole, Sunny, and then Ellie, they will participate and share some testimonies. They are all people that are involved in communities here in our church. And so just to start, I would like to share a Bible verse with us. And it's the text of Acts 2, verse 46 and 47 that says, "Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes, and they ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved." So this passage shows us the early church, the beginning of the church, and they were gathering to have what we are having here: prayer, studying the Bible, and share the worship time. But what stands out in this text to me is the fact that throughout the week they were doing life together. And let me tell you, these small, intimate community where transformation happened. That was very important. And so the early believers, they just didn't go to the worship service. They lived deep relationships with one another. So the Holy Spirit manifested in that group. And a lot of change happened to their lives through relationships. And so they really could know each other, love each other, and support each other. So even Jesus, he used to talk to multitudes, but he chose 12 people that were his small community to walk with them. So that's what we're doing here at Whole Life, and we wanted for you to not only talk about it, but we want you to hear from people that are living in community. And thank you, Sean, for hosting with me, and let's get into it.
Thank you, Freud. So what really is a small community? I can tell you a quick story. Just a few weeks ago, I was speaking to some family and friends, and so I got up and I began to speak, and one of my friends texted me, and he said, "Your zipper's down." I think that's what small communities are. They are people who love you and will look out for you and let you know your zipper's down. You know, hurricanes happen. and zippers aren't always up. And we need people around us that really look out for us and have conversations. Would you help me welcome this panel of our family and friends who's here to share with us? Allie, thank you so much for being here. So appreciate you. I would love to know a little bit. She's created an amazing community that has blessed many people. Some of you may have been part of her community. And I wonder, like, what brought your community together? Like, you know, sometimes they're bikers or they're people who want to read books together, or maybe it's a support group kind of thing. But I wonder what brought your community together. And then I'm really curious as to what kind of kept it together. You know what I mean? Like, we came together this one time, but then we came 3, 4, 5 times. We kept going. Why? I'm curious about that. Would you tell us, Allie?
So yeah, the small community that I was part of, or that we were part of, it started with the Common Rule book. I don't know if anybody was around when they started a couple of groups like that way. And we finished that book and we didn't want to not get together again, so we continue to do that. It was an online community, and it went almost for a year and a half or 2 years.
Wow.
And we read multiple books. Like, we were in, and I know one of the second books we read was the Celebration of the Disciplines. So everything was mostly spiritual formation books, I feel like, when you think about it. But I think what kept it coming together was the safe space, the vulnerability, and the relationships.
Vulnerability.
Because the relationships, I think, that we created got past small talk.
Got past small talk. Well, this is
Yes.
what I hear about, and I experience myself, is that small communities, they get deep, and they form kind of friendships that, well, they can call you on your zipper, or they'll come over and they'll help you with your house. But I wonder, did you see like serious relationships and friendships blossom? Tell us a story about that.
So yes, I think I was going right into it at the beginning, which is the second book we read was The Celebration of the Disciplines. If anybody, I don't know if I know his last name is Foster. And one of the chapters was around confession, which is, it's not a topic that, you're right. So, but because we had this strong bond that we have created, and the space was created in a way that it was safe to just be honest and ruthless honest about things, it was very powerful what happened there. And I remember closing the online call, and I still had goosebumps because what I read, I have experienced it in the call as well. So, yes, for sure. And like I said, I think the friendships I met, the people that were part of that community, when I come in here, and sometimes I haven't seen them for months, but still, that relationship is just deeper because of that experience for that year and a half together.
That was deep connection, and you can feel it.
Connection.
Well, I'm thinking to myself, you know, I got a lot going on. Time is of the essence. I wonder if there's a challenge like time for you. How did you and your small community kind of handle prioritizing time together?
So that's the one thing that I think is the struggle with small communities, is making the space in your life to go and be with people. It needs an effort, it needs a commitment from the people leading it, from the people being part of it and engaging. And I think that's one of the challenges with small communities, especially because we're all going, and we need to slow down to be able to do some of these things. And I think the other challenge that I've seen is creating that space, right? Where communities are beautiful, and at the end we're humans, and sometimes we do dysfunctions, right? So making sure that the space is created in a way that those dysfunctions are cared for in a healthy way when they rise up.
Are you talking about my zipper again, Ali? Is
Maybe
this what-
not. I think
No?
that was really honest. That was healthy.
That
We
was
got
healthy.
our friend. He saw it instead of
Yeah.
of going and telling the other, "Hey, are you seeing the heat?" No, he went and told you about it. Right?
That's right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Alfred, thank you so much for being with us and accepting this challenge. Can you just tell us? I know you are very involved in our church. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're involved with and what brings the community, the small community involved? That it's not super small. It's probably the biggest one here in the church. We'll talk about it. But can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So we've been here in this church for the last almost 3 years now.
Okay.
And I've always been involved with this Brazilian community from the beginning, which operates in the format of a Sabbath school. Okay, and that's where we developed the idea of community. Besides that, I'm a church board member. I'm along with Nicola in the finance committee. And this also has been a privilege and a great experience in participating more and having this sense of mission. I mean, having a purpose for being in church. And I think that's something I always look for.
So we have several ethnic groups in our church, and I think that's amazing. Me being Brazilian as well, and seeing we have a group from Myanmar, we have Hispanic Sabbath School, we have a Brazilian group, we have people from different countries that speaks different languages. And when I moved from country to country, one of the things that I understood it was a blessing. It was to have some type of group that could help me integrate the local culture. And tell us a little bit about the challenges that the ethnic groups, and specifically the Brazilian group, they can face actually. And how do you handle it? How do you walk with them? Yeah.
So when you're looking at this ethnic group, this particular ethnic group, the Brazilians in this church. So Brazilians have been flocking to Orlando, I don't know, for the last 30 or 40 years in big numbers. So we have here in the church people who have been here for 20 years or more. And you have new arrivals, people who gradually come. So the idea is to provide, first of all, an embracing environment where, especially for the people who are arriving, to feel that they have a support community who care, people who care about what they need and how can we together help to overcome situations and at the same time create an environment where people feel welcome, that they are really part of a church. You know that this community was headed until a couple of years ago by a pastor, Pastor Felipe, who eventually got relocated to another church. He now has his own ministry there. So it was a challenge for us, basically, to keep it together. So it was great to see that, people come and volunteer. For instance, I don't know if you all know, but we have a fantastic brunch table.
Yes.
So we take the business of parting the bread real serious there. So, but I just want to tell you, the people who put it together, we never asked anybody, hey, what about having that
done? It was natural.
It was absolutely natural. So this is the ministry of this couple who every Saturday, they put together a beautiful table for all of us. So,
yes, I think the past maybe 6 months, you guys faced a big challenge and you were there to support one of our members or a family. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we had the situation when one of our members was arrested in a very difficult situation. And he was taken to jail. You've been involved with this case on a weekly basis while it lasted. And it was a long duration. For the time he was in. And there is a wife, and she was pregnant, about to deliver a baby. So it was interesting to see how the community came together in support of that situation. Obviously, everybody was suffering every week when we saw that he wasn't there. But we knew that everybody was in touch with the wife, that there was this sense of support. And I can remember clearly the Saturday when, he was finally out of there and he came. through the door. And that hug is something that I'll take with me for the rest of my life. So that was a great experience.
Thank you.
Nicole, thank you for being here. So appreciate you being here. How many people do not have, was there a whoop out there? Somebody likes, how many of you lost power and still don't have power? Yeah, that's right. Nobody comes when they lose power, right? They're going to stay home. But Nicole, she came today. That shows commitment, doesn't it? She's a committed leader of small communities, and so appreciate what you've been doing. Would you tell us, would you tell us a little bit about the small community that you've been a part of leading, and what's the chemistry? What keeps it together?
So I'm involved with our young adult community here at Whole Life, and we have individuals that are coming from a wide range of age brackets, that are students, are young working professionals, and we're in similar phases of life. So everyone's journey might be a little bit different, but having that similarity helps us to understand each other and unites us. We also really enjoy doing diverse activities with each other, not just inside of church, but outside as well. So paddleboarding, hiking, game nights, painting. We try to do different activities because we know everyone has different interests, and sharing those experiences with each other also helps to unite us.
How do you decide what activities to do? How does the...
Just have to do them all.
You do them all. See, that's her. That's Nicole. Nicole, when you first came to Whole Life, how did you connect? How did you what did you do?
So when I think back to how I initially connected with those individuals that really helped Whole Life feel like a home and a family for me, it wasn't just a single small group or event. It was multiple different opportunities that Whole Life has offered for connecting with others. So for me, the young adult community has played a tremendous part in getting connected with our Sabbath school class, paddleboarding, the events that I mentioned. But outside of that, like Alfred mentioned, being involved in the church board, finance committee, small groups on Friday nights or small group book clubs, each of those opportunities have given a chance to connect with different people on different levels and help me to build relationships that I really value.
So really taking advantage of opportunities that are there, seeing them and acting on them. Beautiful. I wonder, I forgot what I was going to ask you. Oh, yes. So, as we were talking earlier, there seems to be this sense of belonging that happens. Like one moment you're there in this group of people that are a little bit foreign, and then something happens. Friendship kind of blossoms. There's connections that are made. You feel like this is my home, and you're happy about it, and you want to come back. Have you experienced anything like that in your...
Oh, absolutely, in many different places. And one that really comes to mind is our young adult Sabbath school class centered. So I've seen so many relationships, not just with myself, but with others grow in that time together. So in our Sabbath school class, we explore some really challenging topics. And we also recognize every person that is coming to this time together has a different background, different perspectives. And in Centered, we are encouraged to bring those differences to the table to navigate these challenging topics, recognizing that we all have something to learn from our differences. And to me, that's such a beautiful thing that we can come and share those differences and walk away at the end of the day feeling understood and not like we have been judged. And for me, knowing that the unique things that I bring to the table, that they are accepted, helps me feel an incredible sense of belonging.
Beautiful. Understood and not judged. Beautiful. Thank you, Nicole.
All right, Sonny, you've been here in this church for over 10 years. Yes?
11.
11, okay. So how was for you arriving here and finding connection in this church in the beginning?
So I arrived in Orlando April of 2013 under the not the most ideal circumstances.
Okay.
My good friend Shelly Villanueva connected me with Jeff Sincomani. Jeff Sincomani connected me with Karen Spruill.
Mm-hmm.
All of those connections happened within a matter of days,
Okay.
even before I stepped onto the church grounds. Those connections also led me to the Perspective Sabbath School. And I have been a member of that Sabbath school since that time.
Okay.
And it's been a group that basically has embraced me. They've seen me at my worst, and they sometimes see me at my best. But, you know, and I didn't mention this on the first service, but within about a month of being here, because I didn't mention the fact that I was in a period of professional transition, meaning I was unemployed.
Okay.
And I had 2 job offers. One was in Houston, Texas, paying $20,000 more. And another one was here in Orlando at Nemours. And I knew that this was the place for me to stay, so I stayed. And I have not regretted that decision at all, primarily because of the connection that I have with that group. We also have a subgroup, if you will, a Friday night fellowship, typically
With
hosted
Jim?
by Jim and Darlene Boyle.
Awesome.
I mean, those are my safe spaces.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, was it challenging for you to create relationships, or was just natural for your personality, for you?
Not at all.
Okay.
I won't start your party. I can help it get it going, but I won't start it. My challenge is that I'm introverted, and it takes a great deal of energy to get out of my comfort shell and actually meet other people. You know, the small groups are great, but and I think anybody would agree, you need more than that. Because, I mean, they provide your spiritual support, but I cannot expect them to provide my social support. And I believe that the way that you can get to that point is by actually being brave enough and actually reach out. And I mean, many Sabbaths I come through that door, in and out, without any interaction at all. And that's my challenge. That's my to-do. And, you know, loneliness is real, and I cannot believe that I'm the only one. So.
Thank you so much for being vulnerable, transparent. We appreciate that.
Amen.
Give it up.
Yeah, transparency. You know, welcome, Ellie. Thank you for joining us. I'm so glad you're here this morning. You know, I did not even know we could do a small community around what Ellie has done. And so I'm excited for her to share with you what that is. Ellie, would you tell us a little bit about the small community that you created?
Yes, I will. Mine is called Found in Florida, and it's a travel group, and we meet once a month, and we travel within a 3-hour radius. We go camping, hiking, just exploring little hidden gems around Florida.
Isn't that amazing? Anybody want to join that group? Yeah, get online. That's such a cool group. Have you also seen connections being formed, people deepening relationships in this particular small community or any others that you've been part of?
Oh my goodness, yes. So I have been coming here for a while, 19 years this year, and I know a lot of people here, but I don't really know a lot of people here. I have a lot of acquaintances. So ever since we started this group, we've been able to, instead of just a quick, hey, how are you? Happy Sabbath. How's been your week? Okay, bye. We spend like hours together, and we get to really get to know each other really well. So it's been really nice. And other people in the group have told me how wonderful it's been for them to get to know other members of their church better.
Beautiful. Thank you, Allie. Appreciate you. Well, you know, you're listening to this, right? And you're thinking to yourself, maybe you're thinking to yourself, hey, I'd like to be a part of her small community or one of the others. Or maybe you're thinking to yourself, I'd like to make my own. I think I could make a pretty cool small community. Well, there is a way to do that. And if you go on the website, wholelife.church/communities, you'll find access to a whole lot of the small communities that are already created. Those communities include action, biking. They include things like conversations around books and support, and the ones that have been mentioned here today. And if you're thinking to yourself, I sure would like to create a small community, I've got some ideas. we're working with people right now and looking for other volunteers to help support the beginning of small communities too. And so if on that website, one of the first links is Start Your Own Small Community Now. And so you click on that, and we will follow up with you and support you in the path of setting up a meaningful small community for you and others. Small communities are a place where we can really connect with other people. It's a place where we can feel a sense of belonging and maybe just experience life a bit more abundantly with other people. So looking forward to seeing you in your small community, hearing your stories in the future. Thank you.
Hi, this is Randy McGray, podcast producer and host here at Whole Life Church. Loving people into a lifelong friendship with God is our mission at the Whole Life Church, and our podcasts are designed to help facilitate conversations that help us grow together in that pursuit. Now that you've heard the message for this week, don't forget to check out the Whole Life takeaways for this message. Swipe up in today's show notes and join the conversation. Speaking of conversations, each Wednesday morning we take a closer look at the week's message. That's right, the one you just listened to. We discuss practical ways to apply spiritual lessons and ask honest questions about the issues we face as Christians, all focused through the lens of grace. Your voice is a welcomed addition to that conversation. We encourage your thoughts and your questions by sending a voicemail or text to 407-965-1607 or send an email to podcast@wholelife.church. You can find everything podcast related on our website, wholelife.church/podcast. And plan on spending every Tuesday evening and Wednesday morning with us as we bring you the Whole Life Church inspiration you love straight into your headphones. Thanks for listening and have a great week.